All right, welcome back everybody to the second race today for the Ancient Cave Fatal Blowout Tournament. Once again, I'm Shadow Killer, I'm your host for today. We're just gonna jump right into it. So I'm gonna introduce our runners and then I'll count them down and the commentators are gonna take it away. So first up, we have a fairly new runner, Sinister Rain. Good runner, solid runner. To be honest, I haven't seen him run all that much, but I know he runs a lot, which is very cool. So I'm excited to see him do his thing out there today. We've got Volt, who's been around for quite some time. Kind of like Hoppy, he doesn't have the best luck in the world as far as things go, but he's a good runner. He's got a good, solid time, and he's very knowledgeable about the Ancient Cave. We've got my good friend Decker BRD. Again, doesn't run all that much, but he has been playing the game a very long time. So good knowledge base, knows what he's doing, very good runner, good time. Now we've got my complete unknown, and I apologize, but we've got Mrs. Mike. You may be wondering, is she married to that other Mike guy? Surprise! Yes, she is. So we have our first couple Ancient Cave racers, which is pretty cool. So like I said, I don't know much about Mrs. Mike, but if she's been working with Mike, then they're gonna be good to go. So I know he's a good runner, so I'm sure he's taught her everything he knows. So I'm excited to see her running. And last, and certainly not least, we've got the Roth, who you just heard on commentary. Incredible runner, incredible knowledge base. Has done things with the cave that you wouldn't even believe if I told you, as far as looking at code and manipulation and all sorts of stuff. So Roth is probably as far as time goes, the strongest runner on the board today. So we'll be able to see if the cave gives him any of the luck he needs to go all the way. So with that, I am going to count down for our runners. So runners, get ready, and we'll give you a 5 count. We got start the race in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go. Good luck, runners. All right, let me switch some audio real quick. And let's see. Roth, I'm not getting your audio, so we'll take a look at that here in just a second. But I'm going to pass it over to our commentators for this run. We've got Real Critical, who you just saw run just 5 seconds ago, and we've got Dank Meats, who ran last week. But guys, I got nothing else. Take it away.
Thank you. I'm Dank Meats.
Hi guys, it's RC.
I'm currently refreshing the stream, so you can take it away.
Well, I'm doing the same thing, so
all right.
Very good start.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. So I see a couple of the last races runners in the chat as well, so congrats to everyone else racing with me. I still haven't caught up to everything that happened, but for the time being.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of upset that Squealer didn't go for the 2 tournament, but he still won, so GG Squealer.
GG Squealer. Alright,
we got a duel already for Volt. What party setups we doing here?
That's what I'm looking at as well. So
points.
There is Salon for Sinister that deviates from the default setup. I've seen Kia for Volt, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I was surprised at how many standard any percents we saw last time.
Yeah,
you
I mean,
even got their band, and then the second Dragon Spear, so you probably felt pretty bad about that.
Yeah. I mean, probably everyone was thinking the same thing I was thinking, which was that was pretty much a gauntlet, and you want to increase your chances as much as you can.
Yeah, true.
So,
starting off pretty standard here. You see Mrs. Mike is farming eagles, which are pretty much the best thing to farm early on for experience. They're easy to kill, people outspeed them and all that, so...
Yeah, so she's running with Darby that deviates from the default any percent setup, so it gives you a bit more of a chance to both reach the jelly and kill the jelly.
I'd say in a marathon, Darby is probably more default than Soli, though, to be honest.
Yeah, sure.
loses you some time, but that guaranteed damage pretty much is just so nice.
Yeah, it's definitely a very recommendable capsule. I guess so is Zappy, which I see for Decker. So I also see Alexis there, which is a curious choice, but
a lot of extra points.
Bunch of points, exactly, yeah.
I think it's the first person we've seen use Lexus too, so that's gonna be cool.
Oh yeah, good point.
Zappy default as well.
And I think I see default party with Gusto for Roth over there.
Yeah, we're gonna hope Roth doesn't make the same mistake where he tries to get like a sub-hour run during a marathon, because that's what he did last year, and he died spectacularly. So hopefully he'll slow down.
There's an Iris ring. Yeah, for sure. Now there is an Iris ring already for Mrs. Mike.
Definitely. Good start. She also has Ice Valk too, which is very, very useful. So
that's very nice. That is some really good spell for like 3 minutes in. We'll just get Dragon, which is also tier 3, but it's a little bit worse because of its application with Hedoras and whatnot. And I guess Deadly Armors if you really need to.
I'm just now noticing that Volt does not have Artie, he has Tia instead, so that's interesting.
Oh, he does actually.
That's extra points, and Tia is fast, but she is not nearly as fast as Artie, so and she's not as tanky, and it's definitely going to be more difficult for him, but it is an interesting setup, and I am definitely glad to see it.
There is a Ruse armor for Roth, but I'm pretty sure he can't utilize it this party if I saw that correctly earlier.
Yeah, unfortunately that's a ladies only armor. Good armor, but
yeah,
can't use standard party. Like we were saying earlier, Eagles are nice to farm early, and you see literally everyone doing that, so
yeah,
safe strats.
If you do get the 2% Cancer Rock drop, which is really rare, then
I mean, the Cancer Rock is a 0% drop for the Eagles, but
wait, did I say Cancer Rock? The Eagle Rock?
Yeah, you did. Yeah, the Eagle Rock.
Cancer Rock is even rarer, yeah.
Yep. Eagle Rock's great though early. It is rare. It's good. Extra agility.
Oh, there is a fire ring for Mrs. Mike. So it's not the ice ring. That would have been even better, but I guess you would definitely take it. Yeah.
Because all the stuff that's weak to fire later on, definitely gonna be happy to find that.
Yeah,
so what do you think
everyone is
first race?
I'm sorry?
What did you think of your performance in the first race?
I mean, the first half hour was pretty bad. And I think after that I played pretty nice. Cannot complain.
Yep. We were wondering why you took 10 minutes to Providence out of that treasure room, but that's for another time.
Because I could afford it, obviously. And it worked out time-wise, you know.
You want to speak a little bit about the movement that we're going to be seeing from these people. I don't know if they covered that at all during the first run, but I'm sure if there's new people here, they might want to hear about how the movement works in this game, so we can just fill that
sure.
in.
I mean,
something important happens. Yeah,
definitely. I guess with the two of us here doing commentary, that was sure to be brought up sooner or later, right? So yeah, I think among all the runners, we might be some of the ones putting the most interest into it among our people, of course. So basically, what differentiates this game from many RPGs of the time is that you don't have random encounters or basically just enemies walking around the map, but enemies actually have some special rules, which means if you attack them from the side, if you attack them from the back, you have a chance or 100% chance to get a first strike against them, which means a free round of actions. The same goes for enemies. So you kind of want to make sure that you encounter them a certain way, from a certain angle, And let me just interrupt that to say that Vault and Sinister already have a higher power rank, which has the Trick IP, which is going to come in play later, just to mention that. So yeah, the reason that movement is so important is that you kind of, in these ancient cave runs, you're kind of trying to get as far as possible with the lowest level in order to go fast, right? So you're not trying to kill every enemy for gaining maximum levels, and that is possible because you can actually avoid enemies and manipulate them, so to speak, in a way that makes you able to avoid them without taking damage, without having to waste time on them. That is basically the gist of it, I would say. Do you have anything to add to that, I forget?
I'm just saying, I think movement's probably the most important skill that you can have in the ancient cave. So definitely, like, seeing good movement or like working on your movement is definitely the best way to improve. Going fast and all that stuff, kind of, you don't really practice that, right? You just see stairs, take stairs, and killing stuff kind of depends on your items. But knowing movement, you can avoid a lot of really crazy things.
Yeah. So one example is what Sinister does here in this corridor. What he's doing is, okay, he's actually killing those mimics, but what I was gonna explain is that you can encounter those enemies twice and get a 50% chance to first strike first, which means if you get both first strikes, you're actually not taking a single point of damage, and you can get past them in a horizontal hallway, which does simply not allow you to get past them without an encounter. So the 250%ers is the best you can do.
Yeah, we're going to be mentioning a lot too. We're going to like talk about 50-50s. Basically a 50-50 is when you just attack something from the side and hope that you win the coin flip to get the first strike. So we're going to be seeing a lot of that as we get deeper into the cave. So that's what that is basically.
Exactly, and of course, the worst thing that can happen to you is that your enemies actually get a first strike. I see a second Iris item from Mrs. Mike. That is definitely a good point start over there. What was the saying? Yeah, if enemies get a first strike on you, they get to deal damage or even snipe your, as in kill your fastest character, which seriously hurts you for the second round, which is the first round you get to act. So you want to avoid that in any way possible.
Especially Volt's going to want to avoid that because Artie is fast and you put him in the back row, but he is pretty tanky for an agility character. But he replaced Artie with Tia, which, you know, she's almost as fast, but she is nowhere near as tanky. So if he, like, she has a really good chance of dying if he gets back attacked or something. So he's gonna have to be extra careful. This is the other people that are bringing stronger characters.
Yeah, that's definitely true. He's, with the setup that he has, he's not gonna have an easy time unless he's loaded with magic and MP, I guess. I mean, he will definitely want to have a deadly rod and a fatal pick as much as everyone else, but he's probably gonna need it more than anyone else. And yeah.
Well, here we go, having Roth. Roth's going for a PB again. It looks like he's just smashing through the cave.
Yeah.
Already in the 20s.
I'm not sure that he ever looked into marathon strat, so to speak. Not that there is a guide or anything, but I mean, everyone plays different in marathon. Yeah. Like, people would go into treasure rooms just for a blue chest and waste 10 minutes there, right? It's crazy what some people would do. But sometimes this feels necessary.
If anybody's going to succeed at going fast, I'm pretty sure Roth is like the best candidate for it. So he should probably be okay as long as he doesn't fight anything too strong that's forced, like gold dragons or salamanders or something.
Yeah, he's definitely a very experienced runner. He definitely knows how to run the cave well and fast. What I don't know is how practiced he is, because just like Dragon CEO, who participated last week and wasn't stunted by the lack of practice, that I can only assume was happening at all. So let's hope the same goes for Roth and all the other runners as well, of course. I'm definitely excited to see an interesting race here, but you're definitely right. I mean, the difference in floors is astonishing.
And we mentioned, or they mentioned it last time, but you can see right now Sinister's going for something called red cores, which are, I don't know if you've ever played, what is it, the Dragon Hero or whatever that game's called, Dragon something.
Dragon Monsters,
that game,
I think, yeah.
Dragon Monsters, yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
That game has like metal slime that give you extra experience. The red cores in this game are basically those slimes, so you want to farm those as much as possible, especially in a marathon. They give you a ton of experience, so you're gonna see everybody going from, like right now you see Deckers farming red cores as well.
Yeah, they're at a specific floor, so of course, this not being a randomizer but a roguelike, you always know where to expect certain enemies and certain items. So oh, I see Roth already province and or died. I unfortunately missed that. What I was gonna say is that you always see those cores as same floors, so on those floors you're gonna look for them especially hard, and you kind of lay out in your run. So when you do get those cores, you need to farm experience afterwards, and when you don't get them, you might have to compensate for it by killing other enemies.
We got a curse lifter for Sinister, which is gonna come in handy if they find a deadly rod or a deadly sword or something.
That's right, and Volt got one before.
Also, so Roth did Providence because I just saw him equipping his blue chest items as he went into the cave. So he's smashing through just to get those extra points for Providencing out and entering again. So
yeah, that makes sense.
He's comfortably in the lead for now. I wonder how long it's going to be before he passes everyone up again. I feel it coming.
I mean, it could be.
Ooh.
Ooh, a Sky Sword.
Sky Sword. Yeah, Sky Sword is probably one of the best items in the entire cave in terms of weapons. It's got the highest ATP. It can go on Decker, Guy, or Maxim. It's just, that's a huge find. He's going to be real happy he found that.
Yeah, it's wonderful together with a Cancer Rock or a Hedora Rock, and since you found it before Cancerous, you're probably going to make that more of a priority. Farming those than you otherwise would, because normally you can back up with a Hedora Rock, but if you already have a Sky Sword, I would say that becomes more of an immediate issue that you want to have. So what I did not see, and after the last run I'm kind of keen on looking at that, is whether everyone's got any healing, because I have seen Strong, I believe, for Mrs. Mike in the beginning, but that's all I saw.
The only one I know so far. Miss Mike does have Strong, which is probably it's the most efficient healing spell, so that's really, really nice to find early.
Yeah.
But yeah, healing is definitely an issue in the Ancient Cave, because if you don't find any of the spells, you have to rely on a limited amount of potions and stuff, which really, really quickly goes bad. So everyone's gonna definitely hope that they can find like Strong or Champion or Valor or something even stronger, even though it's bad, still healing. So
yeah. So I guess in the beginning we talked about movement and kind of talked about the tactical aspect of moving around enemies, not taking any damage that way, or trying to prevent any damage that way. But of course, that doesn't mean that you're never going to take damage. In fact, you're going to take a lot of calculated risks and just let enemies punch you in order to get through a corridor, because you can otherwise avoid it. So yeah, healing spells are what basically lets you get a large amount of healing out of a single chest open, which is like a miracle. Instead of having to open, say, 10 high potions to heal your whole party. Well, 10 is probably a bit much, but you get my point.
Yeah, healing is... I mean, it's totally possible to get to the end. People have done it in marathons, getting all the way to the end without a healing spell, but it is not fun to do, for sure. Another thing is, when you level up, you don't actually gain the hit points you gain. They're like your max HP goes up, but you don't gain those hit points at the level. So if you ever heal them, you're going to have a lot of missing HP as you level up. So just using potions and stuff for that also kind of sucks. You want to definitely have healing spells for that. One of the cool backups, though, is that there are... Oh, speaking of healing, we find Champion for Mrs. Mike. That is like the best heal in the game, pretty much, party-wide at least. And yeah, she's going to be real happy for that. But there are healing tiles in the cave that you can step on, and they fully heal everyone that's alive in your party. It's not really a strat to go for them, but when you see them, if you don't have heals, you're definitely glad to find them. So
yeah,
hope we'll see at least some of those if we don't see more healing spells.
I mean, we've been talking about Miss Mike's run a lot so far because she's found a lot of good stuff. So yeah, as Shadow said in the beginning, she's also more of a new runner, same with Sinister, so I'm definitely happy to see them getting good items and not the hardest start in the cave runs here, in order to give them, I guess, the fair chance. Instead, I don't want to make it sound like they didn't do it otherwise, but you know what I mean.
That's one of the cool things about this tournament too, is that it's not really a speedrun tournament. It's not like an any % tournament or anything. So, you know, you can be a new runner and do totally fine in this tournament because it's point based. You have a decent amount of time as long as you're a little bit practiced. You know, 2 hours is usually more than enough time to get to the end. And yeah, so like anything can happen. Even experienced runners can just, you know, get knocked out quick. So there shouldn't be any hesitation for someone to like sign up, even if they're a new runner. So it's one of the cool things about this setup we have going here.
Yeah, definitely. This is definitely a tournament that is well designed for exactly the purpose you described. So the normal cave runs, I would say, are a bit harder to approach. Although if you are interested in that, let me give the general shout out to maybe join the Discord if you're interested. We got like guides and whatever to hook you up, and of course people are gonna lurk in your streams and gonna bother you with all their wisdom and never gonna leave you alone with the movement strats. So
yeah, Shadow Killer the Discord in chat like a minute ago. So if anyone's interested, if you like the game too and you're not even really into it for the Ancient Cave Discord is still basically the biggest active community for anything Lufia at this point. So, you know, go ahead and check it out. Everyone's welcome. Definitely some stuff to see there. So
yeah. So in the meantime, Roth got an Iris helmet. I remember it correctly. So just to talk about this tourney's points objective, because Shadow didn't go over them, basically players are trying to go for certain goals here, instead of just going all the way to the bottom and kill the jelly, which is the objective in a normal 80% run. So one of the reasons why this is more approachable is that you got more of a compensation for taking a less than optimal party, because that also goes for your points. So you might have realized that players have different starting points. Then there are several things you can do during a run, which is find several items, such as the iris items, which is why we're mentioning them. Or you can also find a gold eye, one of certain 2 girl equipments, or a catfish jewel, and use its IP attack. And then of course, he already had.
Yeah, he has it. He just used Mega Quake, so he got the points for that.
Very nice. Yeah, it's an item that's normally you wouldn't be happy to find it because Mega Quake has its occasional applications, but generally speaking, it's not the strongest jewel, and you can get a lot better things out of a blue chest. But
definitely one of the last things you want to find in a blue chest. But since it's so bad, we decided to give some people some points if they did find it. So that's nice. Free points for Volt, pretty much.
Yeah, and just to finish my thought, there is also a couple of points for the jelly kill, of course, which is 100 points just if you get a kill, and then you get a couple of bonus objectives that I suppose we're gonna get into at the time. Or I suppose you can use the !points chat command, which has been triggered not too long ago. So click that link. You can look at all the links, all the point objectives, and see for yourself what the runners are doing. So another goal I guess we should talk about that makes these points kind of interpretable is that every 10 floors a runner does or reaches, clears, I should say, they also get 10 points, which means both that I'm sorry, both that you will see in our Iris Armor for Wrath, both that you will see very different scores, and the scores, especially at the beginning, aren't as, I guess, representative of the actual outcome for the runner as they will be at the very end. And also for the people doing points keeping, shoutouts to those at this point as well. It's kind of hard to see exactly the point when a runner clears 10 floors, so bear that in mind. It's not always going to be exactly up to date, but they will definitely fix that within a couple of minutes.
Yeah, and another thing is too is like we were saying earlier that it's accessible for new runners. One of the things is like you can say everybody gets bad RNG, you can totally make it to the end, or not make it to the end. You could make it deep and then die on floor 80 or something and still win or come in second for wildcards if you get enough points that way. So yeah, like I said before, definitely very, very approachable. So we run this every year. Hopefully next year we can get a couple hundred more contestants and run this for like 3 months straight. But
yeah, it's just going to become a permanent thing. We're just going to be running fail blowout every Saturday.
Champion for Roth, by the way, so he's going to be pretty happy on that. Please no, Shadow says. You're going to have no choice, Shadow.
I guess we could definitely say that there has been increasing interest in the NGK speedrun over the years, and that's really good to see. I mean, I myself am only part of it for like a few, so yeah.
I've been speedrunning this game for about 30 years now, so it's nice to finally see help in this game. Definitely one of the better SNES RPGs of all time, in fact, because
yes,
the main story is cool, but like the fact that there's just this giant roguelike dungeon, just that's almost its own game in a JRPG from the mid-90s is incredible, and definitely adds way more replayability and longevity to the game than a lot of other RPGs of the era.
Yeah, it's definitely a very well-designed game, like I said, with a unique movement system and a lot of puzzles put into the main story, I guess, the story DLC, as I like to call it. It is a very rewarding game. They put a lot of thought into it and a lot of love, I guess. And if you're into RPGs at all, which I assume you are if you're looking RPG Limit Break, then if you haven't played this, definitely give it a shot. It doesn't have to be the Ancient Cave, but yeah. Yeah, so I saw a Iris Sword, I believe, for Sinister, if I'm not mistaken.
Sinister on floor 31, so definitely a decent pace. Everybody's now past 20 except Roth, but he's the one that providenced out. I'm sure he'll catch up very, very soon.
Yeah.
Coming up, there's going to be a couple things to kind of watch out for. So on floor, I don't actually remember the floors that the Cancer Rock spawns on, but Garbosts are on like 35 to something.
37, yeah.
Yeah, so there's going to be these blue crabs that people are probably going to try to farm because they drop an item that's really good for the jelly at the end of the cave. So you're going to probably see people farming that. And also, around the same floors and right after, we're going to see our first, not roadblock really, but slowdown, which is assassins. If someone has to fight a lot of assassins, that can take a lot of time. So hopefully we get good assassin luck coming up, so people can just go on to the better floors.
Yeah, so Sinister has just found a Chris Shield, which is meant to say Crystal Shield. And just like the Ruse Armor we've been talking about, it's a gorilla-only item, but because he actually has Selen in his team, which is, well, one of the gorilla characters, and therefore a bit more flimsy the way this game is designed, he's definitely gonna appreciate the couple of extra defense, even though it's not as good as the Ruse Armor.
Yeah, Chris Shield's really good too because it gives you protection against cold damage, which is not too common, But there are some monsters, like the white dragons, for example, that if you have to fight them and run from them or something like that, it can be very nice to have the crest shield. So definitely a nice find.
Yeah. So a lot of
Because
items. Sorry?
Leeches stuff.
Yeah.
I
was gonna mention that.
Providence or die?
I'm not sure. I missed that as well. But oh, he has his blue chest gear, so
there's some more points for Volt. Did it a little bit later than Ross, so now he basically has to get to the end of the cave in about an hour and 30. But he does have the blue chest items that he saved by using Providence, so it should make it a little bit easier to go fast.
Yeah, I mean, if you ask me, an hour and 30 is possible. I see a couple of no's and rips in chat, so I don't know what happened to him. Of course, we missed that, right?
It must have been something bad for him to Providence. It didn't look like Providence was his game plan. So.
Yeah.
Curse Lifter for Sinister. Is that the second Curse Lifter for Sinister? I feel like it might be. And a red saber. That's a very good jelly item.
It's a good treasure room. It's one I probably wouldn't have gone in, but it definitely worked out for him. I mean, it didn't look any dangerous, but at the same time, you normally only go in a treasure room that definitely doesn't have the stairs, let's put it that way. If you are really in need of something, which, well, I guess I haven't seen a healing spell for him, have I?
So we were mentioning cores earlier. We're on to the second round of cores with Mrs. Mike blue cores, which are even better than red cores. She just got 2, so that's really, really nice experience. You can see that level up screen is really, really long. Yeah. So that is a very, very nice pickup right there.
Yeah, she's gonna be relieved about that, which means, I mean, she pretty much has everything to start off a run, and I would say now it's only up to lower luck and getting the right items, which is a good position to be in, because if you're still looking for experience and healing, I mean, she's not done the farming experience, but yeah. I don't think so, because he was the one we talked about Uru's armor before.
Yeah. Well, that's unfortunate. Airwhip's a pretty good blue chest item for the girls, because ice is very, very nice for farming Hedoras, which will come up later.
Yep. And there was even a couple more cores for Mrs. Mike on her floors. So, yeah, in the marathon, I mean, what you see here are mostly safety strats. You would always kill cores, but especially the eagle farming, you wouldn't normally see in the speedrun. You normally try to run through as fast as you can, and you take the scenic route and try to have like more of a guaranteed run. You might kill some more enemies, but if you're really doing try-hard attempts, then you're really gonna run for cores and don't look back, I would think.
Yeah.
At all possible.
Yeah, in a marathon, getting when you get to the core floors, pretty much exploring every single room on those 3 floors that they spawn is pretty important, because we were mentioned assassins, which are kind of the first slowdown that are coming up. There's another version of those same type of enemies that come up a little bit later called ninjas, and those are the first. Well, I guess they're not the first roadblock. Blue mimics can be the first roadblock, but ninjas are some of the scariest things in the cave, because they are a lot stronger than most things at that level. I'm gonna stop myself. Gady's blade for Volt right there. That is huge.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I mean, I didn't really see it, but we had a couple of Gady's blades last run, didn't we?
We did. I think we had 2. I know Squealer also had like 11 or 12 Decker blades or something crazy.
All those items used to be pretty rare, man. What happened?
I've never seen a Gady's blade, so. But yeah, the ninjas are bad because they move 2 tiles every time you move 1. So if they're in a room that you have to go through, you're more than likely to have to fight them. And like I said, they're really strong for the level you get to them at. So They spawn on 44 to 46, so when we start getting closer to those floors, we're going to hope that nobody has to fight too many ninjas, if any at all.
Yeah. So we see on Decker BRD's screen, I guess he already killed it, was an enemy called Cancer, and on Sinister's stream on the top we see an enemy called Garbos, so both of those dropped the Cancer Rock. Decker actually got his, and Sinister is still trying to. So the Garbos, the blue ones, actually have a higher drop chance by 5%. Do they? I'm never sure now. People confuse me by saying one or the other, but I think they do.
I think Cancer's is 15% and Garbos is 20%.
Yeah, exactly. That's different by 5%, man.
Yeah. You're right. You're right. I wasn't arguing.
Okay. I see. No, I really can't remember because there's been some questioning of is it Hidoras or Cancer Rocks or whatever. I'm not gonna go into it anymore because I don't want to spread any false information here, but if what I said about the Cancer Rock is fine, then that's good.
Yeah, so the Cancer Rock, it's a item that's relatively easy to farm in terms of the enemies. They're never really that scary. And it's good for the jelly because it allows you to attack twice in a turn, so you can basically do double damage, and you can use it two different turns. So it's basically 2 extra attacks total. So
yeah,
that's nice for killing the jelly. And I don't think we mentioned, but in case anyone didn't know, the boss of the Ancient Cave is a giant jelly that you have to kill in 3 turns, and has just under 10,000 HP. So you need a lot of damage in order to kill that thing. So anything that gives you like extra attacks or like multiplies your attack power or cuts the enemy's HP by a certain percent, all those things are basically what every one of these runners is looking for. Like Decker Blade, for example, is probably the #1 item, so that's always hype to see someone find.
Definitely. And Sinister also got his Cancer Rock, just to finish that conversation off. As Mike is also trying, Mrs. Mike is also trying to get one for herself, but she's not successful in that battle. So I don't see a lot of people fighting Evil Fish here. Am I right about that?
I don't think I saw anyone go for it last round, and I haven't seen anything this round either. Yeah, the Evil Fish are a pretty scary enemy, but we have a point incentive to kill them and then get them to drop their fruit, the charm fruit. But there is a way to back attack them for free, and I don't know if people just don't want to deal with it, or I'm sure some people don't know about the move to do it, but yeah, it doesn't really look like anybody's going for the Evil Fish incentive.
I assume you're talking about the door one, right?
Yeah. Where you running behind it in the door.
Yeah. You can do it, but you also want to, I mean, if you enter the battle and there is 4 of them, you still need a way to kill them. And unless you have Firebird and 2 characters that can cast it, I mean, even with 1 character, if you get a definite first strike, it's always kind of icky. If you have Firebird, you're probably going to go for it.
Yeah, they're definitely enemies that can wipe you early if you're not prepared or you don't approach them right. So that probably is one of the reasons that nobody's really going for them, is because you just don't want to risk it in a marathon for the most part, or maybe like nerves or something. You don't want to deal with it. So
yeah. On the other hand, there is only so many things you can get points from, and just from what I've seen, sorry, I only have to speak about it so roughly because I don't actually know what has been going on, but it has been kind of close in the last round, so even a couple of 5-point objectives could easily make the difference in one of these races. We've seen that last Saturday as well. So yeah, it's definitely always a decision that you have to make during the run.
Yeah, there's a lot of point objectives that you don't really have control over. They're kind of just RNG basically, like Gold Eye.
Yeah.
So you can't really actually farm a Gold Eye. It's like 2% drop rate's not something you can really count on. So mostly you're going to get that point from just RNGing it out of a blue chest, and Iris items obviously are just more points that are kind of out of your control. So
yeah,
being able to get the objectives that are within your control definitely can give you an advantage. So like Evil Fish farming, for example. is not one that's too hard.
I guess so, yeah. It is one of the more risky ones, but if you have a battle plan and you got the spells for it, then it's definitely doable. So I saw Roth getting Rally just now, and Decker BRD got the first Deadly Rod that I spotted.
Yeah, we also got Sinisters on green cores now. So we mentioned earlier that ninjas are one of the biggest roadblocks in the cave. Green cores are from floor 41 to 43, and they're your last real chance to get a lot of experience before you go into those dangerous enemies. So as soon as Sinister is past 43, immediately the next floor is when ninjas spawn at 44. So we're going to be watching closely, and hopefully Sinister doesn't have to fight too many, if any, ninjas. So
yeah. And one difference that we had mentioned before when we talked about it is that you can easily get rid of assassins with a light elemental spell because they're weak to it, but ninja aren't weak to anything. There's just, you have to beat them down with damage.
Beat them down, or we'll use a deadly or something.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
But you're only ever going to have one person faster than them too, so and that's if you can even get Artie faster, really. So
yeah.
The best bet you can have is just not fight them at all, because they all attack twice and they do decent damage, but they also have a move called Knife Thrower, which attacks the whole party for a lot of damage. Like 2 Knife Throwers is usually a run over, unless you're like extra high leveled and stuff like that. So
yeah. So Roth just had to pass a Blue Mimic encounter and apparently survived it without bigger problems. It is not a forced fight, so a forced fight would be if the Blue Mimic is directly on the stairs or in the doorway, so you actually had to kill it, or otherwise you could not progress. So if there is a Mimic in the door, but the stairs are on your side of the doorway, then it's not a forced encounter.
Heavy Arm is asking, Knife Thrower also ignores armor, right? Knife Thrower does not ignore armor. It just, the attack itself boosts, or it like has a high attack power multiplier. It doesn't ignore armor, but it does just do extra damage than their base ATP, which makes it maybe some people seem like it ignores armor because it's just so much damage. But yeah, it's just mean, exactly. It doesn't ignore armor. You can get your armor high enough to where you completely resist all the damage, but it is not easy.
Yeah, so ignoring armor part has been around for a while for some reason. But what Anthony said is correct. I mean, if you want to be precise, then Knife Thrower just has their regular attack value, right? And their what appears to be regular attacks is actually a special skill that has a power of 200, even though their regular attack is 300.
Yeah, true.
I'm reading this, by the way. I don't know those numbers.
You could have just not said that part and made everybody think you got the book brain.
I mean, I hope they think that already. But...
Well,
maybe until now.
We got a kind of nasty room for Mrs. Mike. Oh, but works out.
Oh, that worked out really well, yeah.
So Hedoras aren't too scary, but they're kind of scary. You don't really want to fight them unless you have to, and she kind of has to right now because they're on top of the stairs. But luckily, she got a free back attack on them, so that's going to be nice.
Yeah. And Hedoras, as well as the later Sea Hedoras and High Hedoras, are weak to ice. So if I'm not mistaken, she had found Ice Walk before, which you could have used here. But I can also see why you would save your MP in some situations. And there, of course, is the possibility that with something I'm definitely guilty of myself, you simply don't know all the elemental resistances, weaknesses of the enemy.
And there's a ninja that Sinister is probably going to have to fight. You can see him trying to run from it. He's going to be able to get to the door in time, but if he has to come back through this room, that is a guaranteed fight. And he does. Also, he has to fight the tree, but that shouldn't be too.
Like, relatively, the tree is not his problem.
Yeah. If anything, it's just some free experience before having to kill the ninjas.
Yeah. If those, like many other enemies in Cave, if those trees cause problems for you, you had problems in general, like no healing, bad equips, or no levels. So I guess it's kind of good that there's a couple of those filler enemies, I almost want to call them.
Yeah, definitely anything you can get before fighting ninjas is just you take it when you can get it. So let's see right here on Sinister
Wow, Miss
screen.
Mike. It's another 2 blue cores.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm saying another, but it might be our first 2.
No,
Not sure.
I'm pretty sure she got like 3 or 4, to be honest, before.
Yeah. Okay, that's also what I remembered, but it seemed like it was a while ago, so.
Yeah. Got 3 ninjas here for Sinister, so hopefully they are not too bad. Guillotine is the first attack. Knife thrower. Ooh. Oh, we got level. That knife thrower.
Yeah, those guys are just eating it. No problem.
He should be fine here. Artie might die next turn, maybe even max him, but this should be fine.
That is definitely enough damage to kill that one ninja from the Double Thunder.
Ooh, the preemptive expo case too. That was actually nice.
That's interesting, yeah. With Decker alive, you're pretty much guaranteed to be able to run, unless they have that 3% guillotine hitting you.
Also on Mrs. Mike's screen right here, you can see these things that look like skeletons, and she's about to use Fry on them. So they're not actually skeletons, they're not undead, they're golems of bone. So they're kind of like animated bone. So Fry, you would think as a light attack would do damage to them because they're undead, but it's just regular damage. They're not actually weak to Fry.
Yeah, they're actually resistant to everything but Hard and Thunder and Neutral, I guess. They're weak to Hard and Thunder, and they're resistant to everything else except Neutral. So casting Fry actually does less damage than it would on any other enemy or most other enemies.
They're not scary, but they do both attack, or they do always attack twice, and they can do decent damage, and they're kind of hard to kill if you don't have the right setup, so they can definitely sink some time.
Yeah.
We got ninjas for Sinister right here. Didn't see if he got in first, but let's hope. Did not.
It did not.
Knife throwers yet.
I saw these level 26, so that is definitely a higher level than you would be here normally. So that's definitely a lot more comfortable than it normally would be. Of course, it's not an encounter you want to have in any case, because, I mean, we talked about it before, that you kind of try to avoid enemies, and those guys make it hard for you because they move at double the speed of the player character. So no matter how good you move, unless you find an obstacle or another enemy to block them, you won't be able to outrun them.
Dealing with it just fine, no deaths yet.
Yeah.
Sure what floor this is. I think that was 45. Yeah, so this is the final ninja floor for Sinister. Hopefully we don't get any more.
Oh, Roth has a bit of a
room.
Yeah. I'd like to see that, but it worked out for him. The Hidoras didn't come for him because of the way that. Well, did he actually have an extra step? I mean, I think he had an extra step, so those Hidoras must have walked up. Not sure, I didn't see it.
Right now you can see Bolt is fighting these little firebird things. They're called pugs. They drop a fruit called the flame fruit, which I'm assuming he must be fighting these because he wants to evolve Zeppi to M form. Doesn't look like he has really that great of ways to kill them. He loves Mega Quake. That once, well.
He wants to find the enemy it's effective against, but I mean, good luck.
Yep, he got the flame fruit too, so assuming he doesn't die at some point soon or something like that, he will almost surely get M-Form Zeppy. Marathon, it's pretty easy to feed your capsule monsters all the way up to their fourth form because you're opening so many chests that you have so much stuff to feed them. So with that flame fruit, he's going to hopefully be able to get those extra points for the master form of Zeppy.
Yeah, so Zeppy is also a very useful capsule against the jelly because he has his third form has an attack or a skill called Energy Wave, which raises your party's attack power by 40%. And that is, of course, I mean, as you can guess probably, a very effective means to increase your chances against the jelly. So if you do actually get your form, your M form on your capsule, you can't transition back to the form 3. So that is a trade-off he's gonna have to do, unless he actually gets a second flame fruit somewhere, which is a play I would really like to see, actually. Then he can both get points and get Zeppy 3 in the battle.
Yeah, that's probably less likely. Zeppy M is actually, I want to say, one of the better M forms on the jelly, though. Like, they at least do some decent damage, I want to say, right?
Yeah.
Because you have, like, Darby M, who just does, like, the instant death stuff that doesn't work on the jelly, and there's a lot of bad M forms, basically, for the jelly. But Zeppy's actually one of the, at least, more medium, generally okay, decent ones.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there is Sully 5, which has like a higher chance to use his effects, but Sully 4 is just that much stronger. And I'm getting the feeling from what I'm reading in chat that I missed some power play here from Decker in the past minute. So, even though I didn't see it, shoutouts to Decker, that was probably awesome.
Yeah. What I'm gonna assume is that he beat ninjas to a door or stairs or something like that, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I mean, we still have that unofficial competition of the best move of the tourney, right? So.
No, I think that's already been settled. Basically, every move I made in my round was the best. So.
I mean, I'm not gonna argue about that. But the best move might still be from someone else. Who knows? Yeah, we're gonna have to see after a tourney.
No, we talking about the real Decker. Well, yeah, Decker is a god if you're talking about the character.
Yeah, so when we say Decker, I guess, or when I say Decker, I try to say Decker BRD, meaning the player, but or it's being used to calling him Decker. It's kind of, yeah. I'm not always going to be able to remember saying his whole name to avoid the confusion.
So I'm not sure exactly what floor everyone's on, but everyone except for Volt is at least past floor 40. So you can see Volt's tile set is like a dungeon tile set that he's maneuvering through right now. The cave tile set is what everyone else is in, and that is the tile set that lasts from floor 41 all the way to 98 before you reach the jelly. So it's going to be a little bit difficult without seeing what floor they're on when they go down the stairs to know exactly what floor they're on. But
and so Mrs. Mike and Sinister just hit floor 50, and we can tell from Roth with his scores and Vault with his scores that which floors they're at, which is 41 to 43 for Roth and 32 to 34 for Vault.
Roth just got 4 cores.
Wow.
Yeah, he is level 28 or now 29 right now or something before ninjas, so he is very happy with that. Also, we did just see a deadly rod a little bit ago from Mrs. Mike. I'm not sure if she had one already, but that is also very nice.
Very nice, and apparently we've seen the Deca Blade somewhere as well, even though I haven't seen it. I was put for Roth. Okay, so here's the situation for Mrs. Mike that I don't know who saw that, but like the teleporter teleported next to her right as the battle started. So if she holds right when the battle ends, she will actually not get this encounter that she got into now. It is kind of an advanced strat, I guess I want to say.
Does that strat actually work after coming out of the battle though?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
I love doing that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really come across
You don't get into
often,
battles.
but...
Yeah, it's very situational for sure.
Yeah, I when I see those teleporters, I generally try to just move them away before I attempt any kind of movement, even if it takes a little bit of time.
Yeah.
I guess on these floors they're not too bad. But got ninjas for Roth, by the way. So all those cores that he just got, he is absolutely happy he just got those.
Yeah. Sinister got to take a blade. Okay, very nice.
You see, Decker is feeding Zeppy right now. Right now, he is a frog with a trident. Is that what he's holding? I don't remember what he's holding.
Yeah.
Right there.
You can see it on Eve's artwork on the top left. I guess shout out to Eve at this point.
That's true.
And it's actually the capsule that is featured there alongside Tia and Selen, having a good time.
Yeah, shout outs.
Like Zeppy really looks like he has a good time on it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Zeppy is he's happy.
Whatever he's seeing, he's much more happy to see that than you ever will be seeing Zeppy Form 2.
Yes.
This is not really helpful.
Ooh, Sinister's in kind of a sticky situation. Oh, that worked out. Never mind. So
Nice.
we were mentioning Hedoras earlier. They're weak to ice. So basically, we were talking about the Cancer Rock is one of the items you want for a jelly. Hedora Rock is like Cancer Rock, but even better because it does the 2 extra attacks in just 1 turn, and it gives you a bunch of good stats. So it is a very, very nice item to farm, especially in a marathon when you have all the time in the world.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And Hedora Rock always appears after Cancer Rock, so.
Bolt with the surprise attack from assassins.
Oh wow!
Into the door. Should be okay. But you don't like to see it. Sorry, go on though. What were you saying?
I was just mentioning that you can find Cancer Rock in the chest, or you can get it from the enemies on the 30, late 20 or early 30 floors. But if you don't get that, you can back it up with a Hedora Rock that you can only get on the 50 floors. So if you already have a Cancer Rock, you're probably not going to go for Hedora.
Speaking of jewels that you want to farm, you see Decker in the bottom left is farming these Fringe Lizards. They drop something called the Twist Jewel, which gives you 30 agility, which makes Artie so fast, or whoever you put it on, it makes them way faster. So trying to farm those, which are relatively easy to fight, is very, very nice to give you a little agility boost.
Yeah, they're an enemy that, they mostly cast Blizzard on the party, which does like 50 or 80 damage, something in between. And that is really not something that's usually dangerous to you. So they also have a Frost ability that is, I think, 7%, if I know that correctly off the top of my head.
Okay, well, Mrs. Mike just got surprise attacked by sirens, so let's hope that we don't see an RC right here.
I wasn't gonna say it.
Yeah, so these sirens that she's fighting, they can put your whole party to sleep or confuse or any of that stuff really, really easily, and then you just become locked in combat while they just chain CC you until one of your people decides to wake up so you can run. So you definitely want to avoid being surprise attacked by these at all costs. As you can see right there, everyone went to sleep, but I think she ran, so she should be okay.
Yeah, so what people are mentioning in chat is that they actually did the normal attack, which is a, I don't know, what chance even?
I think it's like a negative 50% chance.
It never happens.
Yeah, it never happens.
Yeah, so that was pretty lucky. Other runners have had worse misfortunes at Sirens. Let me just leave it at that. And yes, it was me. But I guess that must have happened to someone else, right?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Ooh,
Yeah,
nice
so
little
everyone-
room for Rob.
Oh, just as I was about to say, everyone seems to kind of cruise through the cave without any bigger problems. But that also doesn't look like the worst room, to be honest.
It shouldn't be too bad. Oh, he's going for the Hedoras too. Nice. We have green cores up there for Volt. Hopefully he gets some to stay. There's one. Still good. You take one if you can only get one. It's still a lot of experience.
I guess we haven't talked about cores in terms of their escape chance, so they only actually have a chance of 25% to stay, in case after our initial explanation you're wondering why not just everyone goes for cores. And I just saw Decker getting killed by Iron Gorms, actually.
That is, yeah,
Oh,
that is
that's
very
very
unfortunate. Yeah, Iron Gorms usually aren't too scary, but they can attack all and do decent damage to you, so they do have a chance of wiping you, just like you saw there. So that is a very
and-
unfortunate.
And it looks like Volt is in the very same situation right now. I do not think that he can get out of that fight, no
Yeah.
matter what he does.
Like we were saying about ninjas, they are very, very dangerous. So
Yeah.
I don't know if he had healing, but I did notice when he went into that fight originally, Decker was only at like 30 or 40% of his HP. So that probably didn't help.
Yeah.
I don't know if it would have mattered, but ninjas, you don't want to fight ninjas in the cave. They're not fun.
Yeah, so you will notice he Providence out before, so he still gets to retain all those blue chest items from his first run, but none of the second run. So, famous last words indeed. Yeah, everyone's cruising. I did not mean to impose any bad luck on anyone, and I definitely hope it goes well for Sinister, Miss Mike, and Roth, who are still in there. I don't want to phrase it too negatively.
Yeah, it's definitely rough. Sometimes there's nothing you can do, but I don't know. Does anyone have a Decker blade of the three people that haven't died? I'm not positive. I feel
Not
like
sure
Sinister does, right?
I forgot who got the one Decker blade that has been mentioned before. Might have been
Sinister. Okay, yeah. So hopefully we'll still get to see the jelly from at least the remaining runners. We do have some good stuff.
This Mike is being cornered by a couple of Hedoras there.
I mean, Decker and Volt could theoretically make it to the jelly in an hour. I mean, the world record is 45 minutes, so it's totally possible, but it is definitely not easy.
Yeah.
I won't count them out, but I will say that if they want to get to the jelly from here, they definitely have to fight an uphill battle.
Yeah, so something, if you've been watching other speedruns of other games, like mostly non-RPGs or whatever, you might be used to leaderboards saying, okay, the world record is 45 minutes, so everyone at like 50 minutes is still a good runner, right? So while Dank is probably gonna agree to that logic to some extent, there's definitely some different for a roguelike like the Ancient Cave, so that 46-minute run is an incredibly lucky run that everyone here would be happy to be able to reproduce. And actually any time below an hour is still very respectable, very sought after in the community, and that is more of the goal to go for. Whereas world record seems to be something that most people seem to think is not something you should strive for because it's not very achievable. I'm not sure.
Well, the way I see it is, at one point, I mean, it's kind of this way with all speed runs in the way that you just eventually start grinding until you get a better time. But the grinding in this, the closer and closer you get to like a lower and lower time, you're not really improving all that much as you're just fishing for good RNG. So it is, yeah, a 45-minute run has such incredible, like, not to knock El Magus at all, he's a great runner, but I'm saying the RNG in that run is also very, very incredible, and grinding for that is sort of a nightmare. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not saying he only got it because of good luck.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
that's
absolutely
not what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no, he is a great runner for sure. Definitely cream of the crop. So not in any way knocking his skill, but I'm just saying that you need great RNG at one point to keep improving your times. So it's definitely a frustrating barrier for some.
Yeah. Yeah. So with that in mind, I mean, the sub-hour run, as I said, is something that most people would like to have. I think among these runners, I hope I'm not saying anything wrongfully here, but I think the Roth is the only one with a sub 1 time among all these runners here. So
yes, that is correct.
yeah. Yeah, it would be definitely a really fortunate event for either Vault or Deca getting it. So that is why, if you died 1 hour or Providence or any of those things that kind of make you go from the start, you're gonna have a really hard time catching up. So
yeah,
as you can still, they're still trying. Decker just found Iris item actually ever since he died, and yeah, I mean, if everyone else doesn't make it, you can still find yourself in good points regions for sure. However, if there is, I will say, if there is 2 other jelly kills, then that means you're out. There's no way to make that up.
So I want to mention right now, so we're an hour and about 4 minutes in, so we're just over halfway through the timer. One thing you're gonna want to, basically a kind of good rule of thumb to go by when you're doing a marathon run like this with a time limit of 2 hours, is you want to try and go about 10 minutes per floor, and there's 99 floors, so you basically want to go get to the jelly in an hour and 40. And in case you run into something bad, that gives you about 20 minutes of wiggle room. So
I'm sure you meant to say 10 minutes per 10 floors.
Did I say 10 minutes per floor?
Yeah.
Oh, whoops. 10 minutes per 10 floors. That's what I meant. So 1 minute per floor on average, something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm assuming that Mrs. Mike and Sinister, I actually have to check their floors in a second, but they're around that pace. Whereas I think Roth, after Providencing, is already ahead of everyone else again. I'm not positive, but I think he is. So
he might be.
Zooming.
I see Mrs. Mike in a very terrible situation there. She finds herself in the middle of a bunch of threatening enemies. So I assume she has to go to, I really hope she has to go to the top right, because if she has to take the way back through the corridor, that is not going to be pretty.
Yeah, these usually on these floors you don't have too much of a problem with these enemies because you can manipulate them around and stuff, but they are all pretty close together there, so having to go back through that is going to be a nightmare.
Yeah. So Sinister also had a couple of characters dead a second ago to fighting those Hidoras, I assume.
And the stairs are in there from Mrs. Mike. That is huge. So yeah, 456 and a Fry Sword as compensation. That is amazing. Fry Sword is one of the best items you can get in the cave because it is one of the highest attack power weapons that Guy and Decker can use. And it's holy damage, which is very strong. Deadlies kill everything but undead, so having something that does a lot of holy damage is very, very nice. And on top of that, it boosts all your stats, so it's very, very good.
Yeah, exactly. It gives every stat a bonus of +10, which includes agility, which is especially relevant for your slowest character, for escape chances. I'm not sure if we want to go into that, but do you maybe want to cover agility in general?
Yeah, so agility, it works pretty much the same way it does in most RPGs. Turn order is decided by your character's agility. It's like how fast they are. So if you have higher agility than the enemy, your character will go before the enemy. Slower, obviously, you'll go after. And then the way the escape chances work is basically it rolls randomly between the range of your slowest and fastest character. So say you have a character with a 10 and a character with 100, it'll roll a random number between 10 and 100. And that number needs to beat the enemy's agility in order for you to escape. It's a little tiny bit more complex than that, but that's basically how the escape formula works.
Yeah. So in the meantime, Decker died here to another enemy. I will actually say that is not a bad thing. So even though he doesn't get to benefit from the floor points, because that is going to make him, well, run down a couple of floors he just covered again, he did lose an Iris item. And for those Iris items, the more you collect, the rarer they get. So he actually just re-increased his chances to find another one of those and get another 5 points out of it for what it's worth.
Yeah, it's definitely not a strat that you want to go for intentionally, but it does help to, if you do die, not have any more Iris items than you originally had when you entered, because like RC said, you can find them again, so that'll be points again.
Yeah. And of course, the random blue chest item goals that you can get at any floor, because blue chests always have the same chance of appearing on every floor. And as I talk about that, Sinister actually found his gold eye and does a little happy turning there. So that is 5 points for him. And he doesn't even have to worry about Iris items, so whatever.
Yep, that's definitely a nice pickup. Not only is it good for points, but Gold Eye is just a powerful item in general.
Oh yeah.
It's IP attack, Stardust Blow. Oh wait.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
It is really Stardust Blow, yeah. It's
Yeah,
really good.
I don't know why I, for some reason, was so confused by that. But yeah, Stardust Blow is very, very, very strong. You can use it to basically one-shot a group of enemies if you need to, if you're in like a sticky situation or something. So definitely nice.
Yeah. It is the attack that Gold Dragons use against you if you counter them, as you might have seen at the end of the last race, unfortunately. So, yeah, it is an attack that some of the last floor enemies in the cave have, just to give you an idea of how strong it is in comparison to what else you can find in the game.
Another thing too I wanted to mention, because we were mentioning IP attacks, so I know they mentioned it last round, but if anyone missed it, the characters all have 3 bars. They have their HP bar, their MP bar, and then they have another bar below that called IP, which stands for Ikari points, but you can basically think of them as item points. They're points that allow you to use your item's special abilities, and that fills up by taking damage. So one of the things that the runners are going to look to do as they get deeper into the cave is take damage intentionally to fill up that IP bar, so they can use all of their special items on the jelly in order to, you know, do all the extra damage and secure a kill and stuff. Just wanted to throw that out there in case anyone was confused when we mentioned IP.
Yeah, it's definitely a good thing to mention, because there's also one of the, I guess, unique features of this game, even though the Final Fantasy games have some similar. And because there is some banter in chat right now going on, that Mike has probably taken over the controller of Mrs. Mike and playing here, I can definitely say from lurking their stream that she knows what she's doing. For a new runner, she's really doing well. So I will believe that this is her playing any day.
Yeah, I've actually
she's got a really good run.
I've actually seen her play on Mike's stream before, so she's definitely a quick learner and knows what she's doing for sure. She's definitely prepared for this. I will say that, at least.
And yeah, I mean, there is something to say for, as we mentioned before, this is a very new runner-friendly tournament, so we see Sinister and Mike running right along with the Roth here, competing for the Jelly Kill, right? So it tells you something.
Yeah, definitely. So, you know, if this was like an any percent tournament, obviously it would be a lot more, I don't want to say hostile, but definitely a larger
competitive
to entry, for newer players. But yeah, with the way that this is set up, it's definitely very friendly to new players. So, you know, just a little bit of practice and you can slug it out with the best. So
exactly. And I mean, the good news for everyone watching the stream right now is that the next failed blowout will be, I guess, in a year from now. So you got a year of looking AC streams and playing by yourself and practice. So
that being said,
I think Sinister and Miss Mike had much less time than that to prepare for this tournament. I will also say that.
That being said, though, I'm assuming we had another Ancient Cave tournament a couple months ago called the Jelly Jam that one of our runners, Eli, the Eli son, put together, and I'm assuming that's still on for later this year or something like that. So, assuming that the Jelly Jam comes around again, we actually have 2 major tournaments throughout the year.
Yeah, I definitely hope there will be more installments of that. So I see a couple of very good items here. Roth got a silver sword and an iris staff, actually, just a second, and Volt got a curse lifter.
That's his 5th iris item in an hour and 12 minutes, right?
Is it? I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's his 5th iris item. That is insane.
Yeah, especially since he didn't die. So what I was saying before about raising your iris chances when you get out, that only applies if you die with the iris items and lose them, not if you providence. So yeah, is it safe to call hacks at this point? I'm pretty sure it is, but let's give him the benefit of the doubt for now.
Yeah. Another thing too is Mrs. Mike just found a curse lifter. I don't know if she already had one, but I think she has a deadly rod. So that
fatal pick, I believe, yeah.
Oh yeah, the fatal pick is equipped. That's true. I think she has a deadly rod, but it's not equipped.
But I'm also not sure if that was her first curse lifter. So it might have been her second one, and that would be great.
Yeah, uncursing the deadly rod is definitely a very, very nice item to have for the jelly. It the IP attack does 1/8 of the target's current HP as damage, and you can use it 3 times. So definitely nice to have if you can get a deadly rod and uncurse it.
Yeah, you would hope it's not necessary to use it 3 times, because that means you don't have the best setup, but it's definitely good to have the option. So yeah, I guess we didn't mention deadly items at all. So there is a couple of items that let you instant kill enemies, or instant kill most enemies, everything except undead. And those items being the fatal pick, the deadly rod, and the deadly sword. So the deadly sword is the worst one out of all of them, because your fast characters, Maxim and Tia, I suppose, cannot equip it. But deadly rod and fatal pick are, yeah, very good items.
Did you mention the % chance to instant kill?
Well, I will say it's 80%, but I'm sure you're going to correct me on that in a second, even though it's true.
Yeah, so I'm going to correct you on that now. So basically, there is this myth within the Ancient Cave community that the deadly rod, the deadly sword, and the fatal pick have a 80% chance to instant kill a target that they hit. But that's actually not true. The more you play, the more you'll realize that it's really actually only 50%. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, it either kills or it doesn't, right? So you have a 50-50%, or a 50-50 chance, and that's about all it is.
Yeah, there's also a lot of superstition going on in the cave community. But yeah, by whichever logic you go, I mean, even if you assume it's only 50%, which it is not, it would still be a really good item. So...
yeah, well, it is with its 50%. So. Okay, we see some enemies here on Roth's screen called leeches. The guys on the left with the cool blue hooded cloaks or whatever. These enemies are not very fun to fight. They're pretty fast. They do a lot of damage. They're undead, so you can't kill them with deadlies. You can take them down pretty easily if you have the right stuff, but what I did want to point out is that, yes, they're called leeches, even though they're supposed to be called liches. One of the very, very great things about this game is that whoever was translating a lot of these things was either very lazy or had never, ever heard a fantasy term in their life. So, for example, they translated golems instead of golems. There's wybons instead of wyverns. There's leeches instead of liches.
Yeah, I will say all those make sense if you know the Japanese terms and Japanese characters to go along with them. So that's probably the reason, and that's why you're saying they've probably been lazy, right?
Yeah. So they're all directly translated from Japanese.
Yeah.
They didn't go the extra step of actually, you know, putting them in their English terms. So there's a lot of mistranslated enemy names. My favorite, personally, being the flower. It's supposed to be Rafflesia, but instead it's Laflesia for some reason. Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff like that in this game, mistranslations that I'm going to assume that the people were just lazy and didn't fully translate.
Yeah. There is, of course, the Hidoras as well, which are meant to be Hydras, most famously, I suppose. And there is also some religious censorship going on, which is not only limited to graphics, like some crosses have been taken out of the game sprites and replaced with I don't even know what. But there is also items like the goddess's sword in Japanese, replaced with the super sword in English.
Yeah, the Sinistrals actually, they're supposed to be gods in the game, but they didn't want. The 90s were a weird time in America, so they didn't want any religious symbols or significance or terms or any of that in the game, so they just censored all of that stuff. Another thing that they famously censored for some reason is the bunny girls. So there's a bunch of girls in the game that are supposed to be wearing bunny costumes in like the casino, and the lady that actually takes your iris items, I think, is even supposed to be a bunny girl.
Yeah.
But they removed that too, probably because I think the people that were producing the game in America thought that those 16 pixels were a little too sexy for children. So
I mean, it was a Nintendo console game at the end of the day, I guess. So
yeah. Oh yeah, as we can see right here, Mrs. Mike is fighting a boat while Sinister finds a myth blade. Oh, yeah. I'm gonna go back to the myth blade, but the boats in the cave are amazing. As you can see, there's no water, so they don't move. They just sit there, and they don't attack you. If there's slots open on the battlefield, they'll summon enemies, but sometimes you can fight two boats, which makes no room for summoning, and they just sit there and defend the whole time, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I mean, you can tell from the fact that Sinister finds a myth blade and a lizard blow, and Tank still talks about his boats.
Yeah,
it just tells you how amazing it is to have boats.
Yeah, boats in the cave. Beautiful.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mythblade and Lizard Blow on Sinister, those are huge items for the jelly. Mythblade is pretty much the second best percent HP damage weapon next to Decker Blade, and Lizard Blow is one of the best flat damage weapons you can get, so definitely happy to find both of those.
Yeah, did you mention you can surprise attack boats?
Oh yeah, you can surprise attack boats. And you can also get surprise attacked by boats.
Yeah, that's right.
So the boats, since they never move, are always facing down, so you can attack them from behind and get a surprise attack on them, or if for some reason you walk in front of them, they can surprise attack you. I also want to shout out that in the randomizer, they do move around.
Yeah. Oh, I see another. I see some cursing going on in the AC Discord from Volt.
Yeah, Volt's not having a very good time.
Yeah, because unfortunately, when runs don't go away, I definitely feel for him. That is.
Yeah, the cave is can be very cool sometimes, for sure.
Unless you're going for Providence strats, that exact cutout of the cave entrance is not a screen you want to see. But yeah, definitely GG in case he is deciding to not run anymore. Yeah, definitely a good attempt. I mean, dying an hour in does not give you the best start.
Yep, so, but Roth, however, is still smashing through, going real fast.
Yeah, I'm afraid to say
the jelly.
I was just about to say, I'm afraid to say I have not caught up with his equipment, but...
Yeah, so Sinister has Decker Blade, Myth Blade, and Lizard Blow, so, you know, with some good rolls, that's basically already a kill on the jelly as it is, and I'm assuming he has, you know, something else for, like, Artie to do or something, so definitely looking good so far.
It is very promising, and I mean, he even has the IP already. If he manages to keep that until the jelly, he can easily finish this in like very short time, I would hope. I mean, not to get him to run or anything.
I do want to mention what Kobahi just said. It is true that even if he doesn't have very much good jelly equipment, he does have more Iris items to throw at the jelly than any man in history. So definitely got to keep that in mind.
Yeah, unfortunately, Iris items famously do exactly nothing, so that is not gonna help him for the jelly, but it does give him a couple of extra points. Now, as I said before,
surprise attacked by genies. This could be bad.
Yeah, I've seen Sinister and Miss Mike IP farming a lot of genies in the past couple of minutes. So far, it's worked out for them. It looks like.
Ooh, that is very close. Ooh.
And we see in our ground jug finishing a couple of characters off here. But Mrs. Mike has the sense to escape from the bell, which is very nice.
Yeah, luckily Decker is such a strong character that he can survive almost anything that's thrown at him in the cave, as long as you're, running when you need to and putting him in the back row when he needs to be and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, so Volt has called it for this race, and understandably so, in my opinion. So once you reach a certain point where there is no way you're gonna catch up with the people who haven't been as unfortunate, then very understandable, in my opinion, to call it a day and enjoy the other people's races. Of course, it's gonna give us less to pay attention to, so shout out to Volt. That was definitely a good attempt.
Yeah, so it looks like the Sinister, Ms. Mike, and Roth are all actually about nearly at the same floors right now. They all have about 25 floors left, 20 to 25 floors left before they get to the jelly. So they're on these specific floors that are very, very dangerous, where enemies called Archfiends spawn. You can see one right here in front of Sinister. Those enemies follow you through multiple rooms. There are ways to get them to stop following you temporarily if you get far enough away, but in general, once they are locked onto you, they kind of just follow you around and get in your way. And
what I just saw Sinister do is probably not what he should have done. He saw two Archfiends indoors and left the doorway immediately. Assuming the stairs are somewhere behind those doors means that he now has to kill those Archfiends and cannot simply escape from them anymore. So I'm not sure if that was his intention or whether that was just a, split of the moment reaction, I guess, to just dodge away from him.
Yeah, so they're scary enemies too, because they have so much HP that you're never going to kill them really without a deadly. And on top of that, they attack twice, and in those attacks they can either do physical attacks or use a spell called Gloomy, or even use Thunder, and they can destroy your party really quickly if you're not careful and you don't have really a way to combat them. So with the way he's set it up, he has to go through an Archfiend Leech combo somewhere. So we're gonna hope that he can get through them without dying.
That's one of the famously bad enemy combos. So you got the Archfiends, which have a ridiculous amount of HP. They attack twice with strong party-wide attacks. Well, in the worst case. And we got Leeches, who have like close to 300 agility, so they will pretty much always outspeed you.
Okay, so this is bad for Sinister right here. Destroy, 50% chance to hit on Decker, and it hits. That is a death.
That is really unfortunate.
Very, very unfortunate. I'm pretty sure he had a kill too, so that is not something I want to see. Roth, on the other hand, right now had to go past an Archfiend sprite to get to the stairs, and luckily it was actually Ice Rogues who share the Archfiend sprite, and they are much less dangerous. So he lucked out there.
I was very lucky. So yeah, unfortunately, Sinister is on Iris item duty.
Yeah.
Which is Bolt and Decker before him.
Definitely, Sinister could still theoretically come in second and get the wild card if they get enough points and Mrs. Mike either doesn't kill the jelly or, doesn't, gets blocked or something like that. So
yeah,
they're not completely out of it yet. So farming for Iris items for Sinister right now is definitely the right move until the timer runs out.
Yeah, and 95 points at this point is already putting Sinister in the wild card, assuming nothing else happens. But I'm pretty sure we're gonna see something else here from Mrs. Mike. I'm really hopeful for a setup. I mean, of course, I noticed what items she got an hour ago, which means I forgot about them completely. But I remember her having some really good jelly gear very early on, and let's see if she can round it off with the couple items she's still missing.
Ooh, Roth gets lucky again. Another Archfiend sprite he has to go past, and it's 2 Ice Rogues. Like we were saying, they are not scary. I mean, they can wipe you, but they're relatively...
It's very unlikely.
Yeah.
Especially compared to Archfiends, you're definitely going to be happy to see those enemies more than anything else.
Absolutely. He's definitely happy that those forced encounters were not that bad.
Yeah. Yeah, so again, seeing some of these runs here ending early, I feel like pointing out that this is not directly proportional to runner skill or anything, so please don't think that. Sometimes the cave just randomly decides by means of RNG with items and enemies that today is not your day. And yeah, I think we see, I'm not sure who the more recently started runner is between Sinister and Mrs. Mike, but with Mrs. Mike and Roth here facing off at the end, we definitely see one of the newest runners and very seasoned runner with Roth facing off here, pretty much running side by side. So that's very interesting for me to see, and I see no reason to count Mrs. Mike out here.
Yeah, this is the perfect example of how accessible this tournament is for newer runners, for sure. Because Roth is probably one of the best Ancient Cave runners that there is, to be honest. So, yeah, the fact that, a newcomer can just stay toe-to-toe is beautiful to see, honestly.
Yeah, so putting things in perspective, we are at 1.5 hours into the run now, which means there's 30 minutes left. There is 100 floors in total, which means those guys have to clear, Mrs. Mike and Roth have to clear about 20 to 25 floors. I'm not sure where exactly they are floor-wise. And I think they both have to get some more gear, is that correct?
I believe so, yes. Also, I want to point out Roth is in a very, very nasty hallway right now. He has this Archfiend Leech combo that he has to go by, and then the stairs are at the end of the hallway with another Archfiend sprite right next to them. So, yeah, you can see him saying in chat right now, this is going to be fun. It sure is, Roth. It sure is.
Yeah, that sounds about as terrible as it could be.
Hopefully the other one is Ice Rogues, and then he'll be fine. But if it's not, this is... Yeah. Oh, it looks like he's going to have to kill them too, probably.
Yeah, so it looks kind of tame in direct comparison, but Mrs. Mike was just in the hallway having to get past a Hades chariot, which is also not a situation you want to be in, because those could also contain Archfiends, and yeah, I mean, it's a different sprite, but it's the same enemy, so it's, again, not an encounter you want to have, but it may look easy, and there is the second curse lifter now, if she didn't have one before, so...
Yeah, that is
if you're right about the Deadly Rod.
I'm almost positive she got a Deadly Rod after she had the pick equipped, so
okay.
She can now uncurse the Fatal Pick and then uncurse the Deadly Rod also for the jelly, so that'll be nice. So what Roth is doing right here... Oh! It's just a single ice rogue. No way, dude. That is amazing.
Okay, that's the third time.
That is incredible. He is definitely definitely happy to see that. That was sometimes lucky.
Yeah. Yeah, so while we see a couple of genies here.
I'm just so focused right now on like this race. It's so close between Mrs. Mike, and Roth right now. It's pretty exciting.
It's very interesting. If there is anything that is not clear at this point, feel free to post in chat. We're gonna try to answer it and cover it. Otherwise, yeah, I'm pretty much in the same boat as you. I'm very curious how this plays out. And yeah, I mean, they have 27 minutes to go, so even if they... I mean, I don't want to suggest anything here, but there is an objective that has 700,007 gold written on it. They wanted to go for that. They both easily have time to do that, assuming they have the proper the proper deadly items and whatnot. So that is, I think, at this point, the only thing you can farm here, except for the jelly goals and the random blue chest items that, as I said before, you can do pretty much in the entire cave. It doesn't make a difference which floor you're at.
One thing I want to point out real quick too is that, like we've mentioned a couple times now, this set of floors is very dangerous because it has the archfiends on it. Genies are also kind of a pain. Sometimes they can be very deadly and they also block your way, but those two types of enemies stop spawning on floor 88, and both of these runners, I believe, are coming pretty close to floor 88. And from floor 88 to the jelly, basically, there's only two sprites left: dragons and the teleporting summoner sprites, which, you know, if you know how to move around them, they're not very scary. So you're kind of in the final stretch and you can kind of breathe a sigh of relief unless you run into a treasure room or something. So hopefully we get to see both of these runners make it to floor 88 coming up here, because that'll mean they're relatively safe until the jelly.
Yeah. And since there seems to be some interest in that in chat, let me just mention that my name is Real Critical. You saw me getting annihilated in the last race, and I'm being accompanied by Dank Meats, who, well, very much did not get annihilated in his race that he won easily last time.
Yeah, I got lucky. That's all I'll say about my race.
Well, there is always some skill involved, so...
Yeah,
I'm not the ordinary, I know.
I didn't see what floor Roth is on, but I believe Mrs. Mike's on like 85 or 86, so they're really, really close to the end of the Archfiend Gauntlet.
Yeah, like, I think we only just now reached the point where Roth caught up with... Well, I guess Sinister's out of the race by now, but with Mrs. Mike in that case. He's an 85, so...
Yeah, 85, nice. So very, very close.
Yeah. I just want to point out that is really a good race from any beginner. And I mean, I feel like they can't be overstated, because there's certainly a pace and a run that I guess would like to have. So definitely shout outs to them. Sinister and Miss Mike did a great job here for as short as they have played. And I mean, Bolt and Decker, as definitely more experienced runners, both got pretty much executed here at the same time.
Ooh, which is Mike getting surprise attack by genies. Hopefully we don't get any frosts. Oh, no,
yeah, perfectly fine.
Oh,
it's always a thing where yeah, man, there is a frost.
Ooh,
I was just about to say that these genies are always tempted to gamble because the chance for frost is only 24%, but of course when it happens, it can be really devastating.
Yeah, if they chain them to it, can just devastate your party.
Yeah.
So she's gonna survive here. Hopefully this last one doesn't frost. It didn't. Cool. So that's, if anything, that's just an IP farm.
Yeah. That worked out in her favor even.
I also want to point out some crazy good movement from the Roth that we kind of just missed while we were watching Mrs. Mike. But he manipulated some genies and archfiends around the corner that looked really nice.
Very nice, yeah. I missed it, but then I will also say it's kind of hard because the stream delay and actually our commentaries come through on stream after people are seeing it. So even if we were to see it on time, it's really hard to commentate on good movement in a meaningful way.
Mentioned part, or I saw part of it, but yeah, I definitely didn't see the whole thing. But Krieg's saying that it is the highlight of the run so far, so I'm assuming that it was probably even more impressive than I thought, and I thought it was pretty impressive.
Sounds pretty good.
And we got both runners past Archfiend. So like I said, this is the final stretch really of the cave, where basically you only have 2 types of enemy sprites left, and they're not usually too difficult to get around. Sometimes you can get tight hallways where you have to engage them, and those suck. But well, speaking of, Mrs. Mike has 2 dragons in front of the stairs. This is
thanks for showcasing that one.
This is not good. So the types of dragons you fight here are called metallic dragons. There's a bronze, a silver, and a copper. Or bronze, silver, and copper. Bronze, a silver, and a gold. No, copper,
silver, and gold. Yeah.
Iron, platinum, something. Anyway, the three types of dragons. Coppers aren't too scary. They can hurt you, but they're not too scary. Silvers and golds, though. Silvers and golds are nasty, and Mrs. Mike right here has to fight 2 silvers. Luckily,
we see some really gutsy movement here, I will say.
Yeah.
I'm not sure there's a lot of people that would have played it that way in the community, let me put it that way. But I will also say that what you did there worked out perfectly in her situation. So, yeah, I guess success proves right in that case. I hope she can use this first strike to kill those dragons in some way. Oh, but Maxim doesn't have any IP for using Destroy, and she does not appear to have any fireballs, which are alternative ways to instant kill enemies. So yeah, let's see what happens here. But at least the deadly seem to have hit.
Ooh, Artie is not faster than the silver dragon, but luckily it attacked her capsule monster and then used bravery.
Yeah, obviously.
So that is great luck.
Yeah, dragons never killed anyone, so that is a gamble I can see. Yeah.
Ooh, Roth getting hit with a Cinder Blast with 2 still alive.
Oh, which is very nice because he's.
Was that an intentional IP farm or what was he doing?
I doubt it, but I mean, the way he's positioned in the room, it almost has to be, right?
Yeah.
Oh, there is a dragon count for Mrs. Mike.
Hopefully she doesn't.
Glance, I didn't see the stairs. Yeah, there was nothing on the top left door-wise, so I don't think the stairs are in there. But one can only hope. There is no blue chest for Roth, which is not gonna help him.
Mike on 91, 92. So she is closing on. 98 is the final floor with chests and monsters and stuff like that before you reach 99, which has the jelly. So we are getting close.
Yeah, and we can tell by the Roth opening chests here, like no tomorrow, that he is not happy about his setup so far. So,
yeah.
Of course, with this year's tourney, we have the Suicide to the Jelly objective, where you can actually abuse a circumstance in the game that counts you as defeating the jelly if you actually kill your whole party instead of killing the jelly within the 3 turns that you get. And that is I believe, 10 points objective this year. So in any case, if he does not think he has a kill, he can still go for those points.
Yeah, I believe at this point, he's guaranteed at least second. So unless Mrs. Mike doesn't have a kill, I believe if he suicides on the jelly, or wait, sorry, I said that wrong. If Mrs. Mike doesn't have a kill, his suicide on the jelly could get him first place still. So
yeah,
it is definitely still an option in case he does not feel comfortable with his setup.
Yeah, so the 30 points difference cannot be made up by anything that is, I mean, unless she finds 6 iris items for the rest of this run, right? But assuming that doesn't happen, because it's very unlikely, you would have to make up those 30 points by getting a jelly kill. So that is Miss Mike's only option to winning this race.
Oh, that's true, yeah. That's definitely true.
I will also point out that right now Mrs. Mike and Sinister are tied for points.
Yeah. In the case of a tie, though, the deepest floor reached, or the fastest time on a jelly kill, or reaching the jelly or whatever. So even though they're tied in points, unless Sinister somehow passes her right now, Mrs. Mike will win that tie.
Yeah.
There's a Decker Blade for Roth.
Wow, okay.
In the 90s, so that is insane.
So
Best
assuming
item jelly.
Assuming that what he was looking for, is pretty much the holy grail of items you could have found at this point.
Yeah, I don't know if he already had one. I'm gonna assume that he didn't. I just got rid of the stream on accident. Whoops.
I did not think he had a Decker Blade before, so yeah, that doesn't mean he necessarily has a kill now, or a guaranteed one, but it definitely puts him in a really good spot, as I think we covered earlier, the Decker Blade does 50% of the jelly's HP and damage in only 1 attack. So
yeah, so if the jelly has 10,000 HP, you're guaranteed basically 5,000 HP worth of damage from one attack, one guy in 1 turn. So.
And hopefully you're going to do much more than that, so 5,500 is the average. So it definitely puts you up to the best start you can hope for.
Yeah, I'm not sure what else he has, but that Decker Blade is most of what you need for a kill. There's so many other pieces you can throw in and mix and match around the Decker Blade. So his chances are probably much better now.
Yeah, so we're talking about all these formula setups for the jelly, which of course exist, but I think one fun part of speedrun or game category in general is that there is like so many ways a run can go, and even if you don't have the Decker Blade, you can like find other ways to compensate for it by combining other items, and even find some really strange setup in some ways.
94 from Mrs. Mike. 5 floors left.
Yeah, so you see us pretty much, I guess we stopped doing commentary at this point, right? There's just, we're looking at what happens here.
I'm kind of on the edge of my seat because this is so close, to be honest.
Yeah.
But one thing I would like to say is, we mentioned earlier that near the end of the cave, these people are going to be looking to farm their IP points up so they can use all their weapon abilities and everything.
Ooh, Miss Mike taking a gambling 50-50 here. And it turns out just to be a single copper, but that could have easily gone south.
Yeah. That is definitely something you don't want to really gamble with if you don't have to, but it worked out, so it's fine.
Yeah. Showing off here at the final floors.
But yeah, so this is what Roth's basically doing. As you can see, the bars below all of the characters, the 3rd bar is filled on everyone except Guy. And one of the best ways, the orange bars, the best way to farm IP basically with this party at this point is to farm it off copper dragons. He's doing it in an interesting way too that I don't think I would personally do. But yeah, so that's basically what he's gonna do. He's gonna have Guy take damage, and hopefully fill up that bar so everyone in his party can use their abilities on the jelly.
Yeah, and he definitely has time to do it. So they're both only missing. I don't know who was at which floor again, but like they're missing 4 floors at the max, both of them. So they both cannot count on the 5 minutes earlier than 2 hours bonus, which means they can take all the time in the world to get their jelly, and the 30 minutes they have left is easily enough for that.
Yeah.
Or should be anyway. I mean, I'm hoping we won't see any 4 Dragon Dark Summoner cons. They seem both doing the Dragon Dance here. Miss Mike is just trying to go around him while Roth is looking for IP. Which, I mean, actually means, because Miss Mike is actually done with IP, I think. She's not completely maxed on every character, but that is not necessary either, so... I think she would be also looking for items and then trying to go for the jelly, so she might be overtaking Roth here if... depending on how his IP farm goes, easily.
Okay, so it looks like Roth is happy. Roth is happy with his IP. I don't think Guy was full, but he must have enough for whatever he's gonna do. They both reached the final floor, so now Mrs. Mike is feeding her capsule monster up with as much as she can. And Roth, will Roth be feeding? Roth looks like he will also be feeding.
So because of the ridiculous damage rolls in Solar Cell's run last week, I will actually this time attempt to do damage count, at least for the fractionals, to give you an idea whether they're, or how good they are. Let's see if I'm able to make that with both runners attempting it at the same time. But I guess we will see some capsule feeding before that.
Not sure if they have the fruits they need for M. With Darby, you probably don't really want to feed to M, but obviously if you're taking Gusto, you want to just for the extra points, because Gusto's not going to do anything anyway.
I did not see Miss Mike doing her equips so far, so I'm kind of surprised to see her at the feeding screen yet. I hope that wasn't a mistake, or that she already has her equips on, because I didn't see it. Also, have you seen Ralph's capsule name, Bank?
I have not, no. What was it? Okay.
Well, maybe you're gonna see it.
Okay, well, we'll see.
Okay, so we have a Decablade on Roth that we just saw.
Oh, it's named me.
Oh, wow.
Hell yeah. Well, I'm rooting for Roth now.
So I didn't see much other than the Decablade on there, I have to say.
Yeah, I didn't either, so hopefully
unless he...
Oh, he had the Mega Axe and something. I think it was Mega Axe. Put something like that on Guy.
I guess it could work out then, but...
Oh, 3 magic fruits. Wow. Magic
That's
fruits
nice.
are one of the best items you can have to feed your capsule monster, because it fills 8 bars no matter what. So using that on the 3rd form to go to 4th is beautiful.
Yeah.
There we go. That's 4th form. Let's see if he has the fruit. I'm not sure. I didn't really see.
He has a dark fruit.
Oh, he does. Okay.
Oh, that's for Flash though. So
Yeah.
you would need I don't know what it's called, but
Earth
I
fruit.
think he's stuck with a Diaper Giant for now.
Yeah, Diaper Giant.
If you don't know what that means, viewers, that's perfectly fine.
Okay, so here we go. Get your calculators out. Roth is going to attempt to do 9,980 damage to the jelly in 3 turns. So let's see what he can do.
Yeah, we don't see him going for the suicide attempt that much, I can say. So I think he has a plan at the very least. Let's see what it is.
So let's hope for a big fatal blow roll here. That wasn't too big.
Nope, that was 31%. There you go.
Not the best. So from here on out, it looks like he's just looking for crits. I think that's his. I don't even think that's going to be enough, but that's basically what he's looking for. So
it wouldn't be too late to switch to suicide strats, but and again, either he's gonna win one way or another, because Mrs. Mike is not able to get the jelly kill, or he's gonna be in second place if she does. So I can see why.
Does he not even have a project for Maxim? Interesting.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate. So aside from I don't think there's any chance at this point to do enough damage. Even with the crit from Decker and Guy, it won't be enough.
I would unfortunately have to agree, but I definitely like him trying and showing off what the equipment that he has and can do here in damage.
I mean, it was a lot of damage. It was a lot of damage for the only IP him using being Decker Blade.
Yeah.
So, was definitely a nice showing for that meager equipment setup.
Yeah, so I'm seeing 8,770 in chat, so that is about 1,200 missing, 1,210 to be exact. And that is still a long way away, but as you said, it is definitely pretty good for what he had. So yeah, that ends his run as well. So he is sitting at 140 points, I believe. So let's see what Mrs. Mike can do here in the last 5 minutes. But definitely GG to Roth at this point.
Yeah, GG Roth. At the very least, he's coming in second and getting into the wild cards next weekend. So GG to him. And we'll see now. This is basically the fight for first place, which Mrs. Mike will be doing right here.
Yeah.
So if she can deal 9,980 damage, she will take first place. So let's Darby, also her capsule monster Darby is a very powerful capsule monster. It is it usually does a lot of special attacks, so it will definitely help.
Yeah, there is a special attack called Evil Aura that RB4 can learn, but seeing as there's no more battles between here and the jelly, that's not gonna happen. But even his already like standard attacks aren't too bad.
Yeah, Sizzle Smash is a very powerful attack regardless.
Okay, so we do see the double curse lifter on Artie for the uncursed deadly rod. I like that part.
Yeah, so that's nice for sure. I wasn't sure what the other equipment setup was. Fry Cancer. Ooh, no Decker Blade. Spear Cancer. Ooh, she might not have a kill either. Deadly Rod. Yeah. And then nothing for Maxim. Oh, Gorgon Rock. That's still a very...
It's something.
It's something, but that is a very
I'm not holding my breath for that being a kill, but let's see what we're gonna see. I mean, Darby might actually be more helpful here than I would guess.
Darby could make the difference for sure.
And because it just came up in chat, and it seems like we got a couple of seconds here until the fight, it's only the US version that has the glitched jelly floor and one floor in the main game that I won't spoil. All the other versions, meaning the PAL versions and the original Japanese version, are perfectly looking fine.
Yeah, but if you're familiar with speed running in like other games and stuff, you don't want to run on the European versions because they run at a slower speed.
50 FPS instead of 60.
Yeah. Which is a pretty big difference.
Yeah, it is pretty painful playing, especially the Ancient Cave on the PAL versions. But yeah, let's see Mrs. Mike's Jelly fight here.
Yeah, calculators out. Remember, 9,980 damage in 3 turns. Let's see what we can do.
Which is hopefully going to be painful for the Jelly. So, a note at this point here, I'm not sure if the battle is going to end before the 2 hours, but that's not relevant either. She would get some bonus points if she did kill the Jelly before that time, but it doesn't matter. Like, if she kills the Jelly, she wins this round. I'm not sure if she's aware of that. I will also point that out, but
it won't come into play though. If she kills the Jelly, she wins. So
yeah,
that's a pretty decent devastation roll. Ooh, Darby only doing a normal attack though is not what you want to see right now.
Yeah, so the devastation actually was only 32%, which is not great. Darby failed us. Guess it's not over, but
it's not over. But yeah, Darby probably needed to do 3 sizzle smashes here, and even then,
yeah. This is actually because we talked about it before. This is probably where you want to use the 3 Deadly Rod IPs with Artie. I can already see Miss Mike using Decker's IP here in the 2nd turn, which means that is probably not her plan.
Well, she has to because it's a Cancer Rock.
Oh yeah, of course. Never mind.
To maximize the Cancer usage, since you can use it twice, you have to use it 2nd and 3rd round.
Exactly. That escaped my mind for a second that it was a Cancer and not a... for some reason I was thinking it was a Hedora Rock, even though I clearly saw it.
So... she didn't... Ooh, you know what she needed to do was Cancer in the 2nd round with Guy as well, because he also has a Cancer Rock, and she did not do that. Which is going to be some lost damage for sure.
Yeah, it's basically 1 attack. I doubt it's going to come down to that. I mean, seeing those 5,300 damage is not looking too promising.
Boomer. Ooh, there's a Sizzle Smash.
Nice.
Yeah, Big Boomer swag strat. She knew she didn't have a kill, so she used a Big Boomer, which is a,
relatively weak item at this point.
Yeah. It's like a Baby Boomer, but bigger.
Yeah. So this is the 4th round, meaning there will be nothing happening here. The Jelly deals 5 token damage to him, but it's not the remaining HP. And we're sitting at 7,365, if you can believe the numbers in chat. So, yeah, also, yeah, it puts the numbers in perspective with a Deca Blade and no Deca Blade, because that is still about 1,000 damage short of what the Roth got in his run. So, yeah, G to Mrs. Mike as well. It was a very nice run here.
Yeah, GG either way. That's still 2nd place, and she goes on to the wild card. So yeah, GG to everybody. GG's in chat.
Exactly. So take it away, Shadow.
Hey guys, well, thank you guys so much to RC there and Meats, and what another incredible race. We are like 4 for 4 so far on just really nice races. Congratulations to the Roth going on to the finals, and big congratulations to Mrs. Mike going on to the wild card. A great job by all the runners. Of course, we had some bad luck. Volt and Decker BRD both had some really bad luck there. And Sinister put on a great show. I really liked that he didn't gave up, and was going back for those Iris items, because if Mrs. Mike didn't make it, he could have won by finding just one more Iris item. So I'm glad he didn't give up and was just kept going. But that's it for us today. Come back next week. We are going to have our wildcard race, which is the 2nd place runners from all of the races, and our finals followed directly after. So that's really it. I'm not gonna linger on